Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, 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 I want you. Remember that? How about blame it on the rain? Yeah, yeah. All right, y'all ain't here for me.
This is Milli Vanilli. Now, if you don't know who Milli Vanilli is, they were this huge group back in the day that got their careers ruined because they got caught lip syncing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, everybody lip syncs. But see, Milli Vanilli didn't only lip sync their vocals. The vocals actually weren't theirs. It's basically if you went to karaoke and started doing this. Now, the fallout from this was bad. Really bad. Why? Well, because Milli Vanilli had a problem. And their problem was named Frank. See, Frank was this German music producer that produced music. Now, this part's important. A music producer's job is to get everything together to make a song. Most people think it's just someone who makes instrumentals, but it's a lot more than that. Milli Vanilli, their actual names are Fab and Rob, come into Frank's studio one day. Frank go, oh snap, them boys handsome. Fab and Rob go, appreciate you, broski, appreciate you. Hey, we wanna sing though. Frank says, all right, let me hear some. Fab and Rob go, okay, 1, 2, 3. Frank goes, stop. I have another idea. So he devised a plan. He decided to make Fab and Rob the faces of the music and get actual really good singers in the background. So he gets really good singers in and has them record a whole album. Now, this is all happening in Germany, by the way, that's important. He tells Fab, Rob, and all the singers he gathered, you guys are now Milli Vanilli. Fab and Rob are the face, the rest of you guys are the singers. Listen closely. Fab and Rob say, no, we want to sing. And the background singers had mixed feelings. But none of that mattered because Frank made them sign contracts. And if they look closer in their contracts, they would see Frank has total control. And since he had total control, he had already released a single. And it did well. So on top of telling everyone you guys are all now Milli Vanilli, he tells them, oh, by the way, here's some money. Everyone goes, well, I do like money. So Frank basically tells them, if you don't want money and success, go tell the truth. Now, remember I told you all this is happening in Germany. So this is like a European album. On the album cover, it says Fab and Rob, the faces of Milli Vanilli. These are the actual singers. Everyone's okay with it. But now it's time for phase 2. You ain't a bona fide superstar unless you're big in America. But us Americans were a little more strict. So the American version of the album doesn't mention the background singers. And they explode in America. And it's at this point they're a worldwide sensation. But see, one of the background singers gets a copy of the American album. He says, whoa, my name's not on here. And this was the first step in the fall of Milli Vanilli. They were so huge that no one really cared, but now it's in people's heads. Frank quickly gives that background singer $150,000, telling him, you messing up the bag. The background singer goes, God damn, my fault, you got it. The background singer says, hey everybody, I'm just playing, I don't know them. The world said, it's just kind of a rumor, no big deal. Then Milli Vanilli goes on MTV. And then Rob and Fab open their mouths. Now there's something I forgot to tell you. The songs they were singing were in perfect English, no accent. Remember I told you they were German though. So the host of MTV says, yo, Milli Vanilli, y'all hot. Tell us something. Milli Vanilli says, thank you. Love America. That's the best German accent you're gonna get. The host said, that don't. Now, before we get into what happens next, it's time for a quick story break. So I feel like finding a good cologne is hard if you're an indecisive person like myself. And that's where our sponsor, Scentbird, comes in. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription company that'll send you fragrances for about $17 a month. And a pretty cool feature is they come with these little description tabs. You can also check it out on the website, and they tell you what's inside the fragrance. And there's a variety of options between men's colognes, women's perfumes, unisex colognes and perfumes. You got the whole lot. They've even got some high-end brands that you can try. That being said, let's see some of the fragrances they sent me. You know, I had to get that Versace. And they come in these cool little lock things that you can open up. And what we got? It smell like money. Just playing. So it's supposed to be like a citrusy, woody, musky smell. That's literally what it says in the description. By the way, that's why I rock with this, because you can see the descriptions of the fragrances, like what you're actually smelling. I got it especially because of the musk, because I know I like musk, I just don't know what it is. And then being mixed together like all this, I smell the musk they're talking about, but not so much the other things, but I rock with this. All right, next we got Better Than Your Ex. Let's see what this one smell like. Next we got Better Than Your...
Try to give you some...
We got... Bro, they're just different stuff and they mix them together and you get the smells. And lastly, you got Cedra. As you can imagine, it's a super strong smell, and I rock.
Come on, sir.
But I guess it depends on the occasion, because that Versace down this month. Again, the code is XEVI, or you can click this QR code I got up for you right here. Back to our story. They did not sound like their songs, but this still wasn't terrible. It was what happened next that sent them from a downward spiral to a straight up crash. They perform on MTV. They're doing their little lip sync thing, everything going smooth. And then the track stops and it starts repeating the same line over and over again. In Fab and Rob's words, they're like, we didn't know what to do. They weren't just gonna start repeating the same line over and over again like the trap. So they ran off stage, and it didn't just repeat like once or twice, it repeated 12 times.
Wow.
The host runs backstage to them and says, get out there. She cusses them out. They ran out there, they performed, and actually nobody was tripping off this either. Now I know I told you this moment is what led to the crash, and that still rings true. You're gonna understand what I mean in a second. So all of this is a bubble waiting to burst. The burst was when Time magazine comes out and says Rob called himself the new Elvis, and that Milli Vanilli thinks they're better than Bob Dylan, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, all the male legends. People were pissed, and it's ironic because Elvis stole his music from black people, but that's a story for another day. Now Fab came out and said, no, that was never said. Time magazine was basically lying. Fab magazine took them out of context for a headline, but at this point it was too late. And remember that bubble we built with MTV, their German accents, overnight headlines. Milli Vanilli lip singing. They're not singing their own song. They were done. So Frank tries to stop the firestorm. He jumps out and says, I dropped Milli Vanilli. It's true, they don't sing their own songs. Gone. The Grammy committee immediately calls in and says, we want those Grammys back. I forgot to tell you, they won a Grammy. And at that point, the entire world was against them. So Rob and Fab hold a press conference to return their Grammys. They say basically everything I told you in the beginning of the video. How Frank basically forced them all into it. How he made them sign contracts and all that. They then start singing and rapping, and actually they weren't bad. They were pretty good. I love you. Frank was listening in. He said, hold on, they can sing?
You're mind. You're the one I think about most every time. And when you crack a smile.
They say, yeah, we be doing our thing. And everyone applauded them because in the words of a reporter, they were in Los Angeles, California. Hundreds of reporters and interviewers staring them in the face while they needed to return their Grammy. And they started singing. And this made it so they had a chance. They were at rock bottom, but like I always say, if a singer makes good music, all can be forgiven. That's not what I always say, but it sounds good. It's like the Kanye Taylor Swift situation. Everyone hated him. He made a really good album. People were like, Kanye's not that bad. So Frank takes some of their old recordings since their names are still in the spotlight, and he releases it as an album. And they weren't bad at singing, but they weren't as good as the background singers. So people were like, okay, they're not terrible. You get another chance. But it wasn't enough to take them at a bottom. They were superstars. They went to rock bottom. Now they're at bottom. So the ever scheming Frank goes to the background singers and forms a group with them. He calls them the real Milli Vanilli. Now this time they had the voices, but they didn't look like Milli Vanilli, so they do okay as well. Now it's at this point Rob and Fab aren't doing too hot. They were ridiculed by the world. They fell into substance abuse, but they still decided to take one last shot and make another album. Frank hops in and says he wants to be a part of it. The background singers also hop in because they actually felt really bad for Fab and Rob. This was all of them who were a part of this, but Fab and Rob got the blame because they were the faces of Milli Vanilli. Now, while they're making the album, they're also getting sued because they're frauds. Well, I guess no quotes, because technically in America, they are frauds. They tried to defraud Americans technically by not highlighting on the album about the background singers. So they had to refund people who bought the album. They sold 10 million copies. But it was all good because at this point, they're really banking on their next album to take them out of bottom. But sadly, Rob passes away, and this was due to substance abuse, and as you can imagine, the spark for the album was lost. After that, Fab started his own solo career, and he actually did pretty well. He DJ'd for Kiss FM, and he was able to go on tour, but sadly, he passed as well due to COVID. And really, it's kind of a sad story because everything was technically perfect. They had the face of the group. They were okay with it. They had the background singers. They were okay with it. They had the producer. He was okay with it. And most of all, they had the audience. And they were all okay with it. Kind of like how everyone knew Jennifer Lopez didn't really sing her own songs. They were okay with it. Britney Spears lip sync all day, every day. They're like, Milli Vanilli, who knows, could have been some of the biggest stars in music. But one magazine article made it all come crumbling down. Well, it is what it is. And thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video.
All right, so Milli Vanilli, we all know they were real big back in the day. And, you know, I guess when you hear about it, it's like these are the parts of the things that ruin music. You know, we're at this part of music right now where it's like real hard to find like good quality music, but it started from these moments. You know, like he said, once this all came out, it was a big embarrassment. They were like a sham to the community of music. They actually did a movie about them. I didn't know that both of them died though. I thought that one of them only died and one of them was still alive. And yeah, I mean the song "Blame It on the Rain." I think everybody knows that. I think everybody, that's why I'm dying to hear some Milli Vanilli stories in the comments, because you had to hear it. There was no way that you couldn't hear the song. Girl, you know it's true. "Blame It on the Rain." These were two big songs that were out. When I saw the dude that actually sang the song, I was like, like you could put a voice to a person. It actually made sense. I never really put the voice to them because they sound so different in person. But yeah, I watched this guy. I've seen about 50 of his videos this year, and I never thought to react to it. And today I decided to. I'm all about opening up my mind, trying new things. This is somebody new, XEVI, XEVI. I don't know how to say his name. That's the name of the guy who did this video. So make sure you guys, show some love to him as well. I need 100,000 subs by the end of the year. Hit the sub up button right now, top bell as well, and I'll see you on the next video.